Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Connection with a after-action report on the HeroClix X-Men animated series Dark Phoenix Saga pre-release. Now, the set itself does not come out for a few more weeks, but a couple nights ago, got to play through. If you got to buy a couple boosters early, build a team and play a few rounds of them. So, first off, what all did I pull? Well, go over the regular figures first, then we'll handle the Colossals. So, I honestly cannot tell you which figure came out of which booster because I was trying to keep things simple for traveling purposes. So, yeah. Anyway, first off, we've got Wolverine. Wolverine here comes in at 50 points. He's got the X-Men team ability as well as the Alpha Flight, Weapon X, X-Men, and Martial Arts keywords. He also has a trait. The nose knows, bub. Opposing characters within 3 squares can't use stealth or shape change. Okay, that right there makes him such a great figure. Looking at the dial, we've got we open up with some charge, which segues into sidestep, which then becomes flurry. On attack, we've got a full dial of Blades, Claws, Fangs, and attack values that start off at 12 and dip as far down as 10, and at the end are back up to 11. So yeah, this is actually really well put together dial, especially for 50 points. And compared to the last Wolverine we had at 50 points, this is a definite improvement. Defense, he's indomitable. He starts off with willpower, then super senses, then regen, then back to super senses, and we finish up with regen. Now, I complimented his attack values being really good, and we go 12, 11, 10, 10, 11. Defense is not as good, but it's understandable. His defense dips with each hit, so. But we open up with an 18, got a couple clicks out of 17, then a 16, then a 15. So once he hits that, if he gets knocked at that 15, you need to keep him safe so he can regenerate. Because good chance he can at least regenerate back to his last regen click. And with all the X-Men team ability in this set, potentially speaking, you might be able to get someone next to him, or another X-Men next to him, so that they can then heal him an additional click. I actually did manage to, through sheer luck on one game, roll a 6 on regeneration, so healed him up to from his last click to his second click. And then as he has sidestep, I sidestepped next to Jean Grey, who's also on my team, and used the X-Men team ability and healed him back up to top. He's got nothing on damage, which I'm not too fond of that. I think at least an opening click of Exploit Weakness would be nice, but it's not terrible to start off with a blank damage, but yeah. Anyway, moving on, we've got Scanner. So Scanner, this is her first appearance in HeroClix. One of the set's sub-themes is the Acolytes. The Acolytes are a more fanatical version of the Brotherhood, and they are devoted to Magneto. They carried out some seriously messed up stuff especially in the 90s, in Magneto's name, and not all of them have offensive powers. Some of them are honestly more support than anything, but very, very, I think altogether we've had Three, four characters in the span of the entire game to have the acolytes keyword. I could be missing. There could be some that I've forgotten over time, but this set actually gave us a massive dose of them all at once. So, hell yeah. Anyway, so Scanner comes in at 40 points. She has the Acolytes and Spy keywords, as well as 2 traits. First off is Astral Scouting Mission. Give Scanner a power action. Generate an Astral Scanner Bystander. Maximum, and you can only have 1 out at a time, up to 5 squares away. While that Bystander is on the map, Scanner can't be given actions. Basically, she can astrally project herself, but it allows her to, spy on people, stuff like that. But it's her doing it, so the problem is she's kind of left in a lurch. So yeah, but she can't be given actions while she's astrally scanning. The other trait is Mutant Messiah. Now, Mutant Messiah is a common trait that pops up on... Let me see. Okay, it's a trait that's that pops up for the Acolytes. At the beginning of the game, for all characters with this trait, choose a friendly character with the Acolytes or Brotherhood of Mutants or X-Men keyword. That character can use Mastermind, but only to choose characters with this trait. Then, looking at the dial, we start off with nothing on speed, but that gives way to a couple clicks of mind control. Nothing on attack, and very low attack values. She's a support member. She's a support piece, plain and simple. On defense, we got a full run of super senses. And on damage, we open up with a couple clicks of probability control, but that's all she's got. As for the Astral Scanner Bystander, okay, so first off, the Astral Scanner has a trait, Astral Projection. Astral Scanner doesn't block line of fire or require opposing characters to break away, and she's protected from Pulse Wave. And we have a special power on speed, Communicate and Scout, Mind Control, Facing Teleport. Okay. Then on defense, we got Super Senses and Exploit Weakness on damage. That's Scanner. The whole Astral Scanner thing is actually it could be useful, but you have to be really careful with it for obvious reasons. Now, another thing to keep in mind. So Scanner herself opens up with probability control. Probability control is activated through a free action. However, if she's popped out the Astral Scanner, you can't do the prob. So yeah. In fact, I would actually say it's probably best to wait till she's lost her prob and then run out her astral form. Next up, we've got Magneto. Now, this is... You might be wondering, why is Magneto translucent? What the hell is up with that? Is he astral too? No, he is actually a Danger Room hologram. The last time that WizKids did a set like this, last year's Avengers Infinity, instead of doing primes, they did the Space Knights. And they had alternate versions of each Space Knight, and one in each rarity. One Space Knight in each rarity, and as a B, the alternate version of them. In the case of 3 of the rares, there are 3 of the figures in this set. There is a Danger Room simulation version. There is actually a prime in the rares, I want to say. Yeah, there's a rare prime, but then everyone else is just gets a danger room unique. Okay, so Magneto has the Brotherhood of Mutants keyword, team ability, as well as the Brotherhood of Mutants keyword and ruler keyword. We got 2 traits. First, Danger Room Construct. When Magneto makes an attack, after resolutions, give him an error token for each 1 in the attack roll, maximum 3. If he has 2 or less error tokens, characters take a maximum of 1 damage from Magneto's attacks. Magneto takes a maximum of 1 damage from opponents' attacks, and he can't be healed or chosen for Mastermind. And he has Protected Pulse Wave. Or that power ignores Pulse Wave. I think just in general, that power ignores Pulse Wave. Next up, lessons. Oh, I was wrong. 3 traits. Second trait, lessons from the Danger Room. Magneto. If Magneto is KO'd by an opposing character, for the rest of the game, that character can use Energy Shield Deflection. Okay. That could be really useful, actually. And then last one we've got is Simulated Master of Magnetism. Force Blast. When Magneto knocks back an opposing character, you may choose the direction of the knockback. Okay, alright. Now, looking at the dial, we've got a full 5 clicks of running shot. On attack, we open up with a few clicks of Penetrating Second Blast, followed by a couple of clicks of Pulse Wave. On defense, as he's a simulation and not the real deal, he's indomitable. Though the real deal being indomitable is not that far-fetched. Power-wise, he opens up with a couple clicks of Toughness, followed by a few clicks of Energy Deflection. And then finally on damage, we open up with a few clicks of Ranged Combat Expert, and that is it. Apparently there is a means of bypassing the Danger Room Construct trait. If I remember correctly, it has to do with putting him in a vehicle. Anyway, moving on, we've got Deadpool. Everyone's favorite Merc with the Mouth. So, Deadpool comes in at 30 points, and he's got the Weapon X keyword, and he has the trait In Your Head. Deadpool has Super Senses. When an attack targeting Deadpool misses, after resolutions, give the attacker an action token. Okay. Alright. Looking at the dial, we've got a couple clicks of phasing, followed by a couple clicks of sidestep. On attack, we've got a couple clicks of incapacitate, followed by a couple clicks of precision strike. On defense, we've got a couple clicks of willpower, followed by a couple clicks of energy deflection. And finally, on damage, we've got a couple clicks of the special power, Confusing Apparition. Perplex, but only to negatively modify combat values. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this version of Deadpool, he's from a point when Deadpool was still kind of who Deadpool was. Everything about him was kind of nebulous. The character was a bit more defined by the point of the Dark Phoenix Saga, but there was still quite a bit about the character that had not been completely explained. So the writers kind of just said, we'll do this with him. Alright, anyways, moving on to Jean Grey. So, Jeannie here comes in at 50 points, has the X-Men team ability, as well as the X-Men keyword, and she has the trait Scott. It's a unique modifier. So if you have 3 Jeans, well, yeah, that's that. Well, okay. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose a combat value. If Jean Grey is adjacent to a friendly character named Cyclops, modify the chosen combat value by +1. The downside being, of course, with this being, a unique modifier. You can't have basically you can't just have a multitude of them, and yeah. I'm not sure if it will apply, if the trait applies to her and Cyclops, or just her. Anyway, looking at the dial, we open up with a few clicks of mind control, and that's it for speed. On attack, we open up with a couple clicks of telekinesis. That gives way to a couple clicks of penetrating psychic blast, and then we're back to telekinesis. On defense, she opens up with a special power, force field projection or protection. Toughness. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the X-Men keyword can use toughness. Now, yeah, that pretty much means a friendly character on the other end of the map with the X-Men keyword, if she's there, they got toughness. That came in a lot of handy with Wolverine. I'm not gonna lie. And then after that, we get a few clicks of energy shield deflection, and nothing on damage. Next up, we've got Senator Robert Kelly. So, Senator Kelly comes in at 30 points. He's got the Sentinel, and Politician keywords, and he's got 2 traits. First off, we have, I have come to see that mutants are not the threat I once thought them to be. Once per game, when Senator Kelly is KO'd, do not remove him from the game. Instead, after resolutions, place him in the square he last occupied on click number 3, and he can't be healed this game. He is now friendly to your opponent's force and isn't scored again. Next up, we've got Demagogue. Perplexed, but only to target opposing characters. Okay. Looking at his dial, we've got a couple clicks of sidestep, followed by a couple clicks of force blast on speed. Nothing on attack. Defense, we've got inertial deflection, followed by super senses. A couple of clicks of each. On damage, we open up with a couple clicks of the special power, Stoking Mutant Hysteria, Mutant Registration Act. Leadership. When Senator Kelly uses it and succeeds, instead of the normal effect, you may generate a Friends of Humanity figure. Which it's one of the figures in the set, obviously. If he is adjacent to 3 or more Friends of Humanity figures, you may instead generate a Sentinel instead, and when generating either, you roll for their trait to determine the starting click. Then after that, we get a couple clicks of regular leadership. Okay, next up we've got Blob. Mainstay of the Brotherhood of Mutants. Blob comes in at 60 points and has the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability as well as the Brotherhood of Mutants and Freedom Force keywords. He also has 2 traits. First off, my mutant brothers and sisters. This is a shared trait amongst the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood figures in this set. Once per turn, when an effect other than clearing removes an action token from Blob, after resolutions, heal him 1 click. Okay. So, if if Senator Kelly rolls leadership and, well, he can't, but if he has a token removed via, say, leadership, well, heal him 1 click. If he can be healed. I mean, if he's on his top click, well, don't bother. But next up, nothing moves the Blob. Immobile, but only if it's not your turn. At the end of your turn, if Blob was not moved or placed this turn, give him a stability token. Modify his defense by +1 for each stability token. When he moves or is placed, remove his stability tokens. Okay, so looking at the dial, we open up with a couple clicks of charge, followed by a few clicks of plasticity. On attack, we start off with a couple clicks of super strength, followed by a few clicks of quake. right? Yeah. Then on defense, we have a full dial of the special power. Is that the best you got, Pipsqueak? Blob takes a maximum of 1 damage from attacks. He can only be chosen from Mastermind by characters that he shares a keyword with. And then the power is protected from Outwit and Pulse Wave. So, well, it can't be outwitted. You know, you can't be like, well, I want to try and one-shot you, so I'm outwitting your defense. No, can't do it. Oh, well, you're the only one here, so I'm going to Pulse Wave you. No, you're not. Nope, you can't Pulse Wave me. It's a nice way of representing the character and just how hard he is to damage. And finally, on damage, speaking of damage, we have a couple clicks of Close Combat Expert. Moving on to Mesmero. Mesmero is a longtime X-Men villain. This is actually a... I'm not sure if he ever appeared in the show. I don't think so, but this version of him is actually more inspired by his comic book appearances. Anyway, Mesmero comes in at 45 points, and he's got the Brotherhood of Mutants, Weapon X, and Celebrity keywords. He also has improved targeting, ignores elevation and hindering terrain. And he has the trait My Mutant Brothers and Sisters, which does the exact same thing that it does for Blob. If you would remove a token from other than clearing, you get to heal them a click. Looking at the dial, we open up with a special power. The X Circus is in town. Mind Control. When Mesmero uses it, you may choose that hit characters can use improved movement, ignores elevation, and can't make attacks. If you do, after resolutions, deal 2 damage to any hit character that moved from a higher elevation to a lower elevation during that action. So basically, you can make them, walk off of a ledge. That's kind of messed up. I like it. I actually really like that. That gives way to regular mind control. We got nothing on attack. On defense, we open up with a couple clicks of the special power. You there, protect me. Mastermind. When Mesmero uses Mastermind during a range attack, he may instead choose an opposing character within 4 squares in line of fire that isn't attacking, regardless of point value. Oh my god. Yeah, he's a little on the broken side there. I like it. I really like it. Oh boy. Anyway, after he has a couple clicks of You There Protect Me, then a few clicks of Willpower. Okay. And then on damage, he has a full dial of Shape Change. So, yeah, he's going to be sticking around a while. Okay, so that's all the standard figures. Now, let's move on to our Colossals. First off, we'll go with the lower rarity one, Onslaught. So, Onslaught is the... Onslaught is the psychic spawn of Professor X and Charles Xavier. Yes, it's their psychic love, baby. Okay. During the Fatal Attraction story, Magneto hit the world with an EMP because the governments of the world said, "Hey, we got these satellites, so we're gonna activate them." And the way they work is that they create basically a field around the planet that will make it so that Magneto can't use his powers he can still come down here, but he can't use his powers once he's below that, below the force field. And at the time, Magneto was living on one of his various orbital space stations. This one being Avalon. So he's just like, oh, so you're gonna keep me off the planet, huh? Because he wasn't already doing that himself. But he comes down and is like, EMP, bitches! And, so while Reed Richards and probably also Tony Stark were figuring out how to fix fix the world, Professor X led a strike team to Avalon. This strike team included Wolverine. Well, Wolverine sliced up Magneto pretty good, and then Magneto's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm just done with you doing that to me. So, you there with the metal all over, coating the entirety of your skeleton, I'm gonna yank that shit out." And so he pulled the adamantium out of Wolverine's skeleton through his pores. However, during all this, his helmet got knocked off, so Xavier seemingly hit with a mind blast, seemingly wiped his mind. But it's not so much he wiped it, so much as he took Magneto's mind into his own. And so the two minds together formed the psychic entity known as Onslaught. Just to give you another look at this guy. And Onslaught ended up eventually fighting everyone at once, and in order to stop him, the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and the Hulk had to sacrifice themselves. And we got Heroes Reborn. Not sure why I'm smiling. But, anyway, Onslaught's first big thing was, the first time we heard about Onslaught was actually right after Age of Apocalypse. The X-Men were on a night out, and suddenly Juggernaut slams into the ground in front of them, briefly regains consciousness to ask where the hell he is. He said, "You're in New Jersey." "New Jersey? I was just in Alberta." And you're like, "Who did this?" He called himself Onslaught. And so they're like, "Yeah, okay, whoever this Onslaught is, we need to be on the lookout because he was able to knock Juggernaut across a friggin' continent." It's a hell of a feat. So yeah, anyway. It became kind of this big build-up, and I had to stop reading comics during the build-up, sadly. Anywho, so Onslaught. Onslaught can be run at either 900 points, 500 points, or 125 points. He has the X-Men and Brotherhood team abilities, as well as the armor and monster keywords. He also has improved targeting, ignores hindering terrain and characters. And finally, we have 2 traits. Yes, just 2. I checked. First off is behind the scenes. Onslaught can't be targeted by opposing characters 5 or more squares away. That's just mean when you consider the fact that he's got a 9 range. You have to get in his threat range to actually target him. That's great. I love it. Next up is Psychic Juggernaut. Onslaught has Protected, Mind Control, Outwit, and Penetrating Psychic Blast. Well, there goes any hope of doing him damage. I mean, not really, but Once per turn, Onslaught can use Incapacitate as free, or Mind Control as free, or Telekinesis as free. Oh, that's insane. So, now let's look at this dial. All 25 clicks of it. So we open up with a few clicks of Phasing Teleport, followed by a bunch of clicks of Sidestep, then some Mind Control, then back to Sidestep, and then ending up with a run of Phasing Teleport. That's speed. On attack, we open up with we open up with a few clicks of Penetrating Psychic Blast and some insane printed combat and damage values. He's going to one-shot some people on his top click. Not going to lie. That gives way to Precision Strike for a while. And then, and this is for the beginning of both his 500 point and 125 point dials, We have the special power, the special attack power, Kill UK Marco. What a splendid idea! Onslaught can knock back characters that can use charge or combat reflexes. That's a big deal right there in and of itself. When Onslaught hits with a close attack, a hit character unequips all equipment and drops any held objects, and after resolutions, Onslaught knocks back a hit character 9 squares. Now keep in mind, first, you knock someone back 9 squares. Okay. And yeah, there's one click where this power and sidestep coincide. So then if you haven't already used sidestep, use sidestep a little bit. So that they're in range. Or hell, have someone perplex up your range. Or have someone perplex up your range. And then, hey, taking a shot at, then you can in-cap or mind control or TK, in-cap or mind control them. Hell, yeah, slap them with in-cap. Oh, gee, look, now you got, yep, those are tokens on you. Won't be seeing you for a little while. Yeah, it's a thing. Okay, so after the super knockback ability or power, we got a few clicks of pulse wave, back to Kill UK Marco, and then at the end a couple more clicks of pulse wave, and much like with Wolverine, no attack values in the single digits. The lowest he gets is a 10. Admittedly, yes, most of his dial, but figure it's the latter portion. Anyway, moving on to defense, he's indomitable. He's got a few clicks of invincible, followed by a bunch of clicks of impervious, then a bunch more of invulnerability, couple clicks of invincible, we go up to invincible, then back down for a click back down to invulnerability for a click, and then the very end of his dial we got a few clicks of super senses, and not a bad progression defense value wise either. Then finally on damage. First off, we open up with a special power, Reshaping Reality. Probability control and shape change. When Onslaught uses probability control to re-roll an opposing character's attack roll, and the final result is a miss, after resolutions, you may place that opposing character up to 3 squares away from their current square. Oh my god. Yeah. You want to get them... Oh, gee. You're just at a range of that... you're 3 squares away from that kill box I've got. Well, Oh, hey, you missed twice, so into the kill box with you. That's... So, like I said, we open up with that. Then we've got... we open up with a few clicks of that. Then get a few clicks of regular probability control. Then a bunch of clicks of outwit. Then some perplex. Then back to Reshaping Reality. Back to probability control, and then for the last couple clicks, Reshaping Reality. That's... yeah. And finally, last unit from the set, Eugene Torbit Weatherspan. So, Eugene Torbit Weatherspan comes from the episode The Juggernaut Returns. So, okay. Eugene can be run at 20, or at 200, 150, or 25 points. He's got the Brute and Scientist keywords. And then he's got he has a trait. The girls are going to go nuts. Eugene doesn't count against theme teams. Okay. Looking at the dial, we open up with half a dozen clicks of charge, followed by couple clicks of sidestep. Back to charge for a click. Couple more clicks sidestep. Another click of charge, and then another 2 more of sidestep. Then the dial itself, then moving on to attack, we open up with a special power, Juggernaut Slam Dancing. Super Strength, Quake. When Eugene uses Quake and hits, until your next turn, hit characters can't be given actions except move actions. That can be very useful. And we got that for a good long while. Let's see. Call it... around a little more than 2/3 of the dial, 3/4 of the dial. And then we got regular super strength for a click, back to slam dancing. Then the last couple of clicks are super strength. On defense, we open up with a couple of clicks of invulnerability. Then we hit toughness, back to invuln, a streak of toughness, willpower, back to toughness, and the last couple of clicks are willpower. And finally on damage, we've got, first off, he's only giant size, though he's on a 2x2. But we open up with Empower, then a few hooks of Perplex, back to Empower, back to Perplex, and we end a little past the halfway point with Empower. So, the team I ended up running was Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Eugene. I'm gonna be honest, yeah, it was not the best idea in the world to run that team. Probably could have put together something better with Onslaught. But oh well, live and learn. I really wasn't too. It was really. I was honestly just more enthused to play than to get new figures that had not yet been released and play with them. So yeah, I had fun. That's kind of the important thing. As for how I did 2 weeks ago for the last game, the 800 point must include character 200 points or more. I went with the Avengers team and had a record, a 2-1 record, but still point wise came in first place. So go me. Okay, that is it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Let's see. We're doing our comic book roundup tomorrow. And also, we'll be doing a regular building the team later in the week. And we don't have a movie review, but we might have something similar coming up. So that is it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.